All right, y'all. What's up? Gooniac here on a fabulous Monday evening. Sun's still shining though. The sun doesn't go down for another hour. But what's up, people? This has been a Monday. This Monday has sucked pretty bad. Uh, but doesn't matter. I'm gonna do this little bit of a live thing here for y'all. Say what's up. Nate is not with us right now because he's flying on a plane on the way home. So if he gets back in time, he can. What's up, C Mafia? I'll have to give Nate a little bit of a hard time about that. I'll have to give Nate a little bit of a hard time about that charging issue, especially since I bitched at him a couple weeks ago about them things with that exposed Dean's end. He was sparking off the edge of the one of the things that I think it was Oakdale. I don't remember where it was, but I was like, dude, what are you doing with this crap? Put that stuff away. Because it was like making little sparks. I'm like, you're gonna fry your battery or something. But anyway, yeah, we'll figure that out. But you know, we all make mistakes. Figure things out. He's a good kid though, so he I know he felt bad about it, and I know that he will remember it and not do that same stuff again. He's I'm not gonna give him a hard time. I know how he is. He's a good kid. What's up, RC Plane of View? So let me go through the list and say what's up to people because I saw people were talking here early. C Mafia was the very first one here. What's up, man? Lyndon Stewart was next. And we have Mr. Alan Gentry, who I got to talk to again this past weekend. On Saturday, I flew for 13 hours, and I got to hang out with Alan Gentry for a little bit and met his wife. It was cool out there. Beautiful place. I love Oakdale. It's 93 miles one way, but it's always worth the trip. Always worth it. So it was a full day. Pretty cool stuff. So Jelonius Funk, what's up, Angela? What's up, Andy? Paul McNeil. Brian Chambers. Victor. Mr. George Watts, who's a member of mine. Thank you, my friend. Mr. Joe Pellegrino, who's another member. Pete Lane, what's up, phone boy? JCV67 phone boy. That MiG with the lights on it and the fire booty was freaking epic. I loved it. Hope you got some video of that. George Watts, I already said that. RC Air Marshal, what's up? Big Chris, Race Crew 22, Garfield, what's happening? I have to try out that 8S 9 blade like you guys have been doing. Mike Stewart, Stewie, what's up? You didn't see me yesterday. You would have seen me on Saturday if you were there, Mike Stewart, because I was there Saturday all day. Wreck and Roy, what's up? David Schneider, thanks for coming by. I know it's late. Ron for the Hills Mining, what's up? 6SRC, what's up? So yeah, I'm gonna make it. I don't think I'm gonna go all that long because, like I said, it's been a crappy day, and I still got stuff to do. Let's see. So guys, as you can see on the screen, it says right there, if you got questions, I just see my alarm in the background. I didn't realize that was there. No. Anyway, if y'all got questions, anybody has any questions, now is the time to ask it. I don't have a topic, so we could do it all night. Do that for the whole show if you want. I don't care. Gas Street, what's up? Crazy pilot dude. I still got to post your video for everybody to see. Michael Wright, so what's happening? So yeah, not a whole lot going on, but I did fly. Finally got my hat cam back. I handed off the videos to my son and asked him to work his magic with them, because I don't want to post up stuff with lots of wind noise. So I'm gonna let my son try to fix it, see if he can do some stuff for it. Let's see. Oh, there's a holiday. Okay. Okay. I ordered some X-Fly fans, and I spent an extra $8.99, and they're still late. They're supposed to show up early, but they're still late. So anyway, um, they just replied. But anyway, and I flew the crap out of my X-Fly Hawk over the weekend. Did some crazy stuff too. Hopefully, I'll be able to post that video soon. I did post a short video of some stuff that I did. Well, it wasn't stuff that I did. It was a. Let me post it up here for you guys to see. I posted a video of the C-17s. I had two totally different approaches come in over the last. I think it was the end of the month. But I'm gonna post it up here for you guys to see. But it was pretty cool. I posted it. It's only a little over a minute long, but it's totally worth watching. It's cool to see. You get to see a C-17 do a real fast, short approach, which they don't normally do. And then I show their typical approach, which is the long ILS approach. And Andy Cho, I ordered it through Amazon, believe it or not. And they said if you pay an extra $8.99, you'll get it faster. So I paid the $8.99, and I already have one because they sent me one to try out for them. So that's what I'm using in my Hawk. But I had another two, one to go on the F5 and then one to go into the E-flite F-18. But they're still delayed. I also have two 70s on the way as well. Those are for them. They sent those to me to try out as well. Yeah, so they just said they're going to refund me the $9 for the expedited shipping that didn't happen. But if you guys get a chance, check out the video that I posted. It's only a little over a minute, but it's showing two different landing approaches of C-17s right over my house. Pretty cool. Might even just post it up here on the screen for a little bit, but wanted to see if there's anything that anybody wanted to talk about in general, because like I said, so Phoneboy, he was there, and he had a good time with Nate. And like I said, he had this really cool looking MiG-21. I supplied him with the fiery booty for it, but then he also had the he had LEDs all over it for night flying, so it looked really cool. It's cool to see a big EDF with the LEDs on it, and seeing the fiery booty behind it too. So yeah, I'm gonna post that up for Mr. Garfield Houston. I gotta give him a shout out too, because he's been a follower of my page for a long time, of my YouTube channel. We used to go back and forth asking questions and giving feedback and all that stuff. So I appreciate you sticking around and always interacting back in the days and being back on here, Garfield. But I do have an X-Fly unit. I was one of the first ones to get it. Spencer Keith was the first to get one, and he put a crap ton of flights on his. I think in a couple different planes. But I've got right around 50 flights on mine right now. I put it in my ugly old Hawk, and from the very first time I plugged it in and ran it up, I could tell it was legit. And I could tell just by looking at it, by the way it's made, that it's legit, just because they put a lot more time into thinking about how it's made. And with EDFs, the most important thing is getting clean air into the unit. And the only way to get clean air into it is to sit. The further back you can put the EDF into the housing, so that there's more of a Venturi effect, and then also to make as small of a gap in between the housing and the rotors. That ends up being a good thing. They've done both of those. And you got to keep in mind, this is a plastic fan too. This is not a composite carbon or anything fancy. But just by doing that, even with the same KV as other stuff, just by doing that, you're going to help the airflow inside of a model. So, yeah, these things are legit. I have one in my old beat-up Hawk, and the Hawk is insane. I got this video. Give me a second, guys. All right, sorry, had a phone call that I'd been waiting for all day, and I finally got it, so I replied. Anyway, so yeah, the fan is pretty dang awesome. As soon as I put it in the Hawk, as soon as I ran it up, I was impressed. And I start out with conservative batteries. A lot of people want to go crazy high C. I don't. I never really do. There are a few packs where I will go crazy C, but I went for the packs that I normally use, which are 30 and 40 C packs, and just on those alone, the Hawk has flown better than it ever has. I never did fly the Hawk with the 2100 kV unit. I do have a Hawk with that unit in it, and I'm going to try it soon. I'm going to fly it with that first, and then I'm going to switch it over to the X-Fly to compare. But with the X-Fly compared to the older 1930 kV that was in it, freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. If you are conservative with the throttle, which I normally am, you can get anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes flying time. Now, if you hammer it, you're going to get at least 2.5 to 3. I did one flight where I was flying full throttle. I took my hands completely off the radio, so it was basically like this. I went like that and flew around like that. I flew for 2 minutes straight with the throttle pegged on a 6S30C 5000. Throttle pegged for 2 minutes straight. I have a countdown, so I listened on my radio. And then when it hit the 2 minutes, then I came back and I did a couple touch and goes. Right at 3 minutes, I landed, and still the battery was warm, but it wasn't hot, and it was 3.75 per cell, so still good. I like the fan. I pay attention to details. I pay attention to all these little things. Like I said, the way that they make it, the way that it's designed with the fan. So, Mariah, that's a good question too. I don't get anything from these people. I don't have any interest as far as affiliate link or any of that crap from them. All I like to do is relay info to you guys that I see works for me, stuff that's made me happy, stuff that's actually made my planes fly really well. So I'll relay that info to you. I always get geeked up and all crazy happy when I see people paying attention to detail. And when I see somebody doing something with a fan, FMS fans are always good. But when I see somebody doing something with a fan that is something that I would have done to make it better, I like to let people know about that. And that's why I keep pushing the X-Flies, because they are taking a little bit more time and consideration into what they're doing. So when they have rotors that are made the way that they are, and then the housings made the way that they are, they can use higher kV because the fans are set up in a way where they're going to be efficient. So they're using 2200 kV instead of 2100 kV. All these people, there are a couple people online, I don't even understand how they're doing this. They're getting these fans, they say that they're making crazy high temperatures, blah, blah, blah. And they're running zero timing. But that's part of the reason why. If it's running zero timing, it's not going to be happy. With me, I always make sure that a 4-pole motor, which this motor is, a 4-pole motor, is going to be set to low timing. Low timing is what it needs, usually where you start. What's up, Lyndon? And that'll keep the motor its happiest. I'm not a full throttle jockey. I don't ever leave it full throttle for long. I did on that one flight. When I landed, the motor wasn't hot. It was warm. So you can tell when a motor's hot because you can smell it and you can feel it, but it was not hot. So bottom line, X-Fly fan has been really good for me. All the things that I like about a fan, it's got. It's low in price. It's been reliable for me so far. It's quiet. It's well balanced, and it's been good. I don't have any bad things to say yet. The only thing that I don't like is the material that it's made out of. But I don't see it being an issue. I don't see that being a problem because it's the same thing that the FMS was. And I had the FMS fan that was in the Hawk as the original fan, over 400 flights easy. And there's not a single nick in the blade. So whatever they did with those fans, they did the right thing. X-Flies, I don't know if they're a whole lot better than everything else. I just know that they're good for what they are. Um, Something that comes out that's cheap in price, but good in quality and good in performance, that's worth telling people about. So that's why I'm telling people about it. I'm not telling people because I'm going to get something out of it. No, I'm telling people because it's cool and I'm excited that there's something new, something that's working. Spencer Keith has flown more than anybody. Um, and you just take a look at what he says. If you want some feedback, talk to this guy because he's the one who's flown it more than anyone at this point. He's even flown it more than I have because he had the time and, he could go fly, I don't know, however many times a day. He passed me up as far as trying that thing out. But he did a good job. And if you want, with any EDF, any plane, period, if you're pulling anywhere near 100 amps and you fly around at full throttle, your battery's not going to be happy. With the batteries that I use, the XFly unit is at about 100 to 105 amps. And if you leave it at that for the whole time, your battery's going to hurt. It's not going to like it. Oh, we're getting good questions. I like this. That's going to make me have stuff to talk about. So yeah, if you guys have questions about fans, I can tell you what's worked for me. So EQ, he's got another good one. So this fan was made to be a direct drop-in for FMS. So the FMS fan that was in the Hawk came out. The ESC that's in that is 100 amp Predator. I left that ESC in because they recommend 100 amp ESC. Put it back in and ran it up. Everything's been fine. I have a UBEC on my, always put a UBEC in my planes just for the heck of it, just for an extra security blanket, just in case something goes wrong. So when I just doing some quick test on the ground with a high C with the high C pack, which I'm never going to fly with, but I did a test with a 6S 65C6000. That battery's a beast. I flew it. I mean, I didn't fly it. I ran it up. And even with that 100 amp at ESC, it pulled 126 amps. And I let it sit there and settle. And ESC was fine. So, and it's got a burst current of 130 amps, so it's all good. But yeah, guys, as I said, Spencer, they recommend units, EQRC. That put your question up on the screen, but they do recommend ESCs, and I'd take their recommendations because they're right. But yeah, check out Spencer. Like I said, Spencer's got more time on this than anybody. He doesn't have it on a test stand. He doesn't have it getting readings. He's not doing that stuff. He's actually flying it. So what matters to me is how the thing performs in the air. Yes, tests are great. Yes, data's good. Nothing wrong with it. But it's only good to a point, Spencer's flown it. He's gotten a 21-minute flight. Yeah, and yes, the throttle was constant, but he had the throttle low, and he got a 21-minute flight. I did the same sort of thing, and I got 18.5 minutes. And I could have gone more, I just came down. So the difference between this fan and the FMS fan, just one tick over idle, just barely where the fan comes on. With my BAE Hawk from FMS, the plane started moving. Any other fan, you hit one tick, it'll make noise, but nothing will happen. So as soon as I hit that one tick and the whole plane moved, I knew right then it was going to be good. So that's one of the reasons why it's as good as it is, because of the way they designed it. Kenny, I didn't get to say what's up. Hey, Kenny, how you doing, buddy? Kenny! So, I don't know about the 70s yet, Wreckham Roy. That is a good question. I don't know about the 70s. I'm waiting for them to show up. I have to go check the mail. They may be here. But I don't know yet. I have to try them. And like I said, if they work out good, I'm going to let everybody know. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it if it's bad. I'll tell you. Right now, so I'll just tell you guys this too. I have, and I hope that video comes out. My current favorite 70 millimeter setup is the new or is it Pro? I don't know what it is. It's the 1900 kV 70 millimeter from FMS. It's a set 1900 kV 30 millimeter motor. I broke the rotors originally, the original stock rotors. So I wanted to still fly the plane. So I found the older 1850 kV rotor. They're completely different rotors. The 1850 kV rotor has a lot of pitch, more blade area. The 1900 kV has less pitch, smaller blades. It's just different. So I'm like, 1900 kV is only a little bit more than 1850, but they've got a fatter motor, which is good, but it's going to help with torque. So I don't think that it would hurt having all that extra pitch. So I took that old rotor and I put it on there, and holy crap, good setup. And I haven't really had to change my timer on my plane. If I fly it's really fast now, so I'm flying harder than I used to. So I just pay attention. And I'll come in a minute early. I set my timer for 4 minutes. If I'm just shooting touch and goes, and again, I'm using a 30C pack most of the time, 6S30C 4000. What's up, EQ? And I think you've got everything now, right? So you should be set. But anyway, yeah, my favorite 70 millimeter setup is the FMS with the FMS 1900 kV with the old 1850 kV rotor. I have video coming and I'll show you, but my little baby Fate, as I call it, my baby F-18, that thing screams now. And it's it basically flies the way that it flies has a lot more presence with the way it flies now. It makes a cooler noise, lots of vertical. I mean, as soon as I take off, I can go straight up. And then on top of that, the passes are insane. It makes this when the F-18 is going fast because it makes this whistle, and it's making that whistle. It's pretty cool. So that's my favorite setup. If you guys want details, I can show you how to do it. F-22. Let me go grab it. Hold on, I'll show you the old one. I'll be right back. So I got my F-22 a couple years ago, and I just used what I had sitting around. And I've tried all these different setups in my planes that I, back in 2016, I started fiddling with different fans to try and get them to work. This is a Leopard 4092 1730 kV, and this is the old. So we were just talking about pitch. This is the old high pitch. I don't think they really even put any attention into designing this. They just said, okay, let's choose a blade angle and just go up a pitch and just go with it. So this is the old free wing. They're individual blades. Once you tighten this thing down, leave it. This is my balancing marks. I put weight here, figured out that was the light side. This is the heavy side. So that's where I removed the material. This thing had been working for years, ever since 2016. And a couple months ago, this thing came loose and it totally killed my balance. So I had to, what's up, GB? So I had to take it out of the plane because it was going to shake the thing apart. This thing's huge, 4092, but this plane flew like it was on 8S when I used this fan. And I think that's probably why it came undone, because it was spinning faster than it ever has with that 65C6000. But this thing's huge. It's heavy. But Nate can attest to this. This plane was insane fast with this, but you took throttle management. Peak amp draw was about 155. So now I have a new setup, which is my own. I'm using a 4082 in runner, which is a little bit shorter than this, but same diameter. And it's 1900 kV, but I'm using FMS, an FMS rotor, and that is incredibly good. It's lighter, gives probably about, I think it's about the same speeds, but it's easier on batteries, so I'm able to get just as high speeds, but just as high speeds, but I'm able to get a lower amp draw. So good question, phone boy. And yeah, look at this thing. This is a torque monster. The reason for having such a long motor for an EDF is for torque, and with all that pitch, you needed it. And this motor never even skipped a beat. It would never heat up. Totally sealed, but it would never heat up. It would never get hot. Skip built what's happening, and it worked amazing for years. I first put this together in 2016. It didn't go out of balance because this rotor came loose until 2021. So this is assembled by me. But anyway, lasted a long time. It went in the F-15 first, then it was in the F-22. Once I got the F-22, because this had been sitting, so I'm like, oh, I'll put it in that. Flew great. But now I have a lighter setup. And yeah, it was a torque monster. Anytime you have a long motor like that, it makes more torque. So come on with the questions, guys. They're good. The 8S and the F-22 is good. It won't necessarily make it a whole lot faster. It does make it faster, but the biggest advantage is the thrust. It gives it a lot more speed. So anyway, let's see. So yammering still. But to keep it with the questions, guys, this is cool. I'm able to actually answer and talk and interact with you guys instead of just rambling on about random stuff. So any other EDF questions? But so basically I'll just tell you what I was doing with the X-Fly unit that was actually pretty cool. What I did it 3 times, and I had people walk up to me and tell me it was cool. My Hawk with the X-Fly. The funny thing is I don't have nose steering because the servo burned out, and I didn't change it. So I have to take it out to the runway, set it down, and then let it go. And then when I land, I have to land away from me. And with the wind, the rudder will work, but if it's got enough movement, the rudder will force the nose to move, but the nose wheel, I couldn't steer it. So what I do was I'd take off, flew around, came by, would do a touch. Actually, I'd climb pretty high and then dump the flaps, dump the gear, and just do a steep descent, come down, level out, do main wheels touch and go only, get off the ground, punch it, not even gain speed. I just punch it and go straight up and go up and make as big of a loop as I could, come back around and do a fast pass right over the runway. A couple times I did that same thing, but I'd do another touch and go, boom, and go back up. And that just shows you how much power this thing had. I did it with the 6S 30C 4500. I also did it with the 6S 30C 5000 and then a 40C 5000. So yeah, it's been good. Oh, cool. Phone boy, you might be coming out. Great. So, yes, Skip, it's pretty good with the 8S. It would go up pretty good. And yeah, thanks for the shout out. Guys, give me some likes, please. It'd be nice if you did. So Wreck 'em Roy, that's a good one. It's not really that hard to do, but it just depends on what it is you want to give up, because you're not going to get everything you want. Um, not going to get everything you want, depending on how much you put in. That's a good thing about the X-Fly. You are getting a little bit of everything. And 80 millimeter is a good size, so you're able to choose. You don't have to lose much. But the most important thing is the way that the plane works, the way that the fan works inside the plane, and that's where the X-Fly comes into play, because of the way it's set in the housing. It's having it set further back means that it's going to have more clean airflow getting in there. And as Skip Built just said, that's why I use light low C packs, because that just makes the plane lighter, and you're able to, you can get vertical that way, or you go crazy high C, but then that's going to increase your weight. And also, depending on the size of the battery, that's what killed my F-35 at a 70C 4000, and it was ripping, and I didn't have any reserve. So when I went to do a go around, plane didn't make it. It'll be put back together. It's just not gonna be pretty anymore. But yeah. If you're really interested in climbing power, figure out the most capacity for the lowest weight. One thing I will give E-Flight credit, or not E-Flight, but Horizon Hobby credit for their smart packs, is that they are really light. They're expensive, but they're really light and they're really powerful. So if you can get around the cost, those 30C 5000s from the smart packs, those are really good. I just don't care for spending that much money. I can still find lighter batteries for cheaper. Yeah, GB, it's all good. It had a lot of good time. It'll still be okay. I'm gonna try to cover up the blemishes with my newly acquired airbrush. So we'll see. Andy Cho, that is another good question. So thanks, guys. You guys are keeping me going with these questions. Phone Boy, Z batteries are good. Not bad at all. Z, Yuwu, Yumi, Ovonic. Spencer Keats had a lot of good luck with Ovonics. There's another one that's I like too. It's called Sokoken, and that was my boy Ricky told me about those. Anyway, but look at Andy Cho's question. What are your thoughts on the new 90 millimeter Viper? The reverse, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's a game changer, but it is pretty cool. I was skeptical at first because a lot of these reverse thrust things that I've seen haven't worked very well. But the way that they did it, and I knew they were going to come out with that size, with that fan too, because I saw it come out a couple. It sends. Okay, what was I saying? They put out that fan a couple months ago, so I knew that the new plane that they're coming out with was going to have a 36 millimeter motor, and it was going to be branded E-Flight, and it was going to be 90 millimeter. And I had a sinking suspicion that it was going to be a Viper, possibly something else. I'm not going to mention that. Possibly something else than a Viper or a Viper. But I like it. I think it's pretty cool. When I saw the video I like who they chose to fly it. Ali Machinchi is a badass pilot. He is their best demo pilot of anybody they have. The most respect goes to Ali because he flies the plane the way people want to see it, and not to sell it, but he just flies it the way people want to see it. Flew it amazing, and when I saw it, I'm like, I don't really care for the color, but the way it flies, holy crap! And that's with the conservative setup. Yeah, that's pretty badass. And I have an 8S 90 millimeter setup sitting here that needs a home. And the Kit Plus, I have everything. What's up to Fred Barron? The Kit Plus has everything. Um, um, so we will have to see how all that works. Um, but it's pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with it. The reverse thrust works pretty good. It's actually effective. It actually does what it's supposed to. I was pretty impressed. And I plan to get it. Um, Skip Ilch, you're welcome. Just I'll get to you later. Um, and yeah, that thing's pretty cool. I'll have to keep watching the videos. So Bobby bought. Yeah, Phone Boy, if you put that new 9 blade in there, that thing's going to scream. Nate's is really cool. Nate's has been a lot of fun with the 9 blade in there. But yeah, I like Ali Machinchi's style of flying. Just because he does the stuff that I pretty much want to see. I don't care so much about flying inverted over the runway. I like to see how it slows down, acceleration, climbs, if it does any sort of aerobatics. The stability is what matters to me, and from what I've seen, it's been pretty stable. So it looks pretty good. I plan on getting it. I'm just gonna say it out, put it out there. I have it on. I have the F-16, the NX-10, and the NX-10, F-16, and the Viper Jet are all on Hobby Zone's notify me when they show up list, because as soon as they show, they're getting purchased. So I'm not going to do the pre-order thing because I like Hobby Zone. So I'm going to order through them and go from there. And yeah, that's what they did, Reckham Roy. They put a reversing ESC. That smart ESC does reverse. So cool. Yep, plan to get one. It will be mine. Skip Built, I didn't know you didn't have a wrench. Your wrench is back. So yeah. Skip Built, another thing about that F-22 is that it doesn't have the best intake. So once you get going, once you actually get moving, the thrust is better. So yeah, when you take off, with the F-22, you get thrust initially, but once you get a little speed going, it actually makes more thrust. So the thing that I do, I'll take off with the F-22 and I'll level out and I'll pick up speed and then climb and then level out again, and then I'll make a dive. Once I make that dive, I've got all that energy, and if you fly it right, you can retain that energy throughout that whole flight. And the F-22, it will climb like a bat out of hell if you get the right run going. And that's what I've figured out how to do with it. You just got to get everything started the right way. But yeah. So what else, y'all? The questions have been good. I've appreciated the questions. You guys are keeping me running my mouth. And as I was saying, I was pretty impressed with how their um, reverse feature worked, because it was cool seeing Ali do that flight, land, slow down right by the taxiway, and then just back into the taxiway the whole way. It's pretty cool. Alan Gentry, have a good night, man. Again, it was good to see you and talk with you for a little while instead of it just being online. Um, cool. Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's cool. I plan on getting that plane and trying some stuff with it. I didn't care for the 70 all that much. It seemed kind of weird. Um, and it never really did it for me. The wings were a little too flimsy for me. All right, Skip, have a good night. What's up, Pilot Ryan? The wings never did really do it for me. A little flimsy. I was watching the flights of this new one, and it was pretty impressive. Um, I liked how I didn't see any flex. I mean, it did flex a little bit, but to be expected, not a whole bunch. So it's cool. But Skip, will be in touch. I'll talk to you a little later this week. But I just had a spotter friend telling me that the AN124 is scheduled to make a trip here to the Bay Area. Hopefully, I'll be around for that. And yeah, Wreckham Roy, the thrust reverse is good. Corey, you didn't close the door, dude. He's up there yelling. He's up there yelling. Anyway. Yeah, I think it's that smart ESC. I think it works on several different planes. I think it's even the same one that they have in the what do you call it? It's that same smart ESC. The Avian is what it's called, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a good ESC, and it's kind of cool the way it works. Now, FMS has a reversing ESC as well it has two leads, and you just put it on a different channel. Do they do reverse thrust with the F-16 too, or did they only do that with the? Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was all Avian. So does the reverse? I don't think the reverse works as good in the F-16 as it does in the Viper, or does it? If I remember right, I think the Viper has one of the most effective reverses I've seen. I'm just noticing now too. I got a little extra sun on Saturday. So anyway, I'm getting texts and emails. I shouldn't be reading, but yeah. So I'm going to get those planes. I have the setups at home already, so I don't need to get anything new. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go grab that FMS 8S. See, actually both of them. Hold on, be right back. All right, y'all. Sorry for the break. Had to go grab some stuff. And when I did, I actually picked up the wrong box. So I had to, go back and try again. So let's see which one I grabbed this time. So this is one of the new FMS, 90 millimeters. Okay, so this is the 8S. And this is the one that I will put in. What the hell is that? I didn't know what that was. And I will put this one in the new Viper when I get it. That's the 1500 kV for 8S. I have this in my F16, my 90 millimeter free wing F16, and it's badass. Really well made, works really good. So I have two. So that's the I got these from Banggood. It actually showed up pretty quick. Stupid fan knocked all that shit off. So that's one fan. Now this other one I actually have in my F15. I wanted to try it out. It's been okay for what it is. It is pretty heavy, and it is a little bit lower performance than my own setup, but it's all metal, and it's got a cooling fan in there. It's kind of cool. Only thing I dislike that FMS did was they went conservative on the motor size. So the shorter the motor, the less torque it has. But the shorter the motor, the lighter it is. So they used a 4068 in this one. And it's 1850 kV. Can't really see it in there, but there's a little channel inside, like right in here. It's got a cooling fan, and it actually makes a really cool noise. But this one's nice too. This is for 6S. It is a little heavy, and if they went a little bigger, it would have helped with RPM, but it also would have increased weight. So I think that they wanted to keep the weight down, and they kept the motor a little shorter. But yeah, that's it. So I've got these two fans. I'm just gonna get an 8S ESC and put that 8S in the Viper because yeah. So BD Tennessee, the what? All right. So there used to be a 90 millimeter FMS fan that was out before, but it was an outrunner, and it was 1900 kV. And I actually have that fan. It actually works really good. It's an outrunner though, which isn't ideal, but it's an outrunner, and I use it in the F104. It was considerably lighter than the original the original Free Wing, and it actually was more efficient. And since it was lighter, even though it made less thrust, it actually made more thrust because it was lighter. So there was that fan, but it had an outrunner. So what they did was they kept it a 36 millimeter so it wouldn't go up in weight. They used a plastic housing. So the weight went up by 5 grams, but the thrust went up by 50. So it just balanced itself out. The 1900 kV, it's 1950 kV, I believe, and it's 36 millimeters. I've done that with a couple planes, but they were longer. They're using a shorter motor. I use 3674 motors, and those worked out really good with that FMS housing. I mean, with that FMS rotor. Nate had his F-22 using that, and just a good setup. No clue what the hell I knocked down under here. Oh, it was my. Oops. It was my airbrush. I knocked it down. Put that ish back up there. And my weight. So anyway. So let's see, what else? So yeah, as I said, BD Tennessee, I knew that they were going to come out with a plane, and I know how FMS likes to be conservative with their setup. So I'm like, I bet you that their 90 millimeter is going to have that 36 millimeter motor in it, and it did, and it works really well in that Viper. But I think they could go. I think they could do more with it, and I'm going to use the 8S. Because that thing puts out. So as it is, you know what? I'm gonna look it up. The because RC Castle has it, and they had it for a while. What? No. Let's see. So RC Castle, I'm gonna look that up so I can see the thrust ratings. Categories, EDF. Categories, EDF. There we go. So let's look at it. Okay, so let's look at the specs. So it's a little pricey, but the weight is 340 grams. It's a 3670 1950 kV in-runner. And it's 3550, 3.55 kilograms of thrust, which is really good considering its weight. Now let's go back and look at what the original Outrunner used to have. The original Outrunner back in the days, like I said, they're just barely heavier. So it's 335 grams for the old one. And the new one's 340, so that's only 5 grams more. But it's putting out a considerable amount more thrust. So the static thrust from the Outrunner before, this is an Outrunner, and it had good amp draw. The amp draw was 112, which is really good. But it had 3.5 kilograms of thrust. Now, this new one is 5 grams more, but it puts out 3.55 kilograms at the same amperage. So it's a little bit heavier, but it's putting out quite a bit more. And since it's an in-runner, it's just going to give better part throttle readings. So, people always look at the full throttle. You got to look at where you spend most of your time. And if the amp draw is low at half, but you're still getting lots of thrust, that's what you want. And that's going to keep you in the air longer. So, yeah. Let's see if anybody knows. Pete, what were you saying? Current products are used. Do you plan to have 10 design it? We'll see. I don't really. It's a lot more work than I'd like to put into. What I'm thinking about doing is making my own hybrid setups. And when I say hybrid, I mean taking parts that are already out there and piecing them together. So I might. Yeah, Wreck-'em Roy, that's what I do. I've noticed too, because I spend most of my time at half throttle. And if I'm able to get the plane to climb at half, it's a good setup. It's going to climb at full, but if you can get the plane to gain altitude at half throttle, you've got a good setup. And that's the way I but that's the way I set my planes up to work, so that they'll climb at half throttle. And then when it comes time to dive and do a pass, you can put it into the dive and then get some speed out of it. But yeah, so this new FMS, they did still go a little conservative, but this is for people who don't want to put a lot of weight in the plane. That new one that comes in the Viper is a really good lightweight setup. So it's only 340 grams in weight with an in-runner, which is really impressive. And it puts out 3.55 kilograms of thrust, which is really good. What are you doing up there, Izzy? Hey, Mama. So there's another setup that they have that I just showed you. But let's look at that real quick. That one, I need to see the weight because it does weigh quite a bit more. So the 1850 weighs quite a bit more, 503 grams, but it puts out 4 kilograms of thrust. So you're going to get more performance out of that. It might be a little bit heavier in weight, but you will get some performance out of it. Now the 1500 kV, let's see. That one's a slightly bigger motor. Yeah, 566 grams is the weight, but it puts out 5 kilograms of thrust at 108 amps, which is really good. So it's a 4075. So that's good. Let's get back and see what y'all talking about. Got some lemonade. But I don't want to go forever because I got some stuff to do. But I still see 29 y'all in here, which is cool of you for hanging out with us. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, I got my little logo up there now. I've been meaning to post that for a while, but now I've got it. Forgot I could do it. Be nice if I could make it a little bit bigger, but it's there. Pete Lane, the aerofoam jets look good. Your MiG-17, believe it or not, that's an aerofoam plane. Even though Hobby King took the credit and called it an Avios. It's an aerofoam plane. So I like them. The MiG-29, the L-39 does have a little bit of needs a little bit of reinforcement in the fuse, but I do like it. Depends on the plane, Jeff. But if you notice that you're not gaining much speed between 80 to 100, you might want to consider getting a different fan. And that's where I've noticed the X-Fly is different. You can notice a difference in throttle settings. If you're just making more noise, your fan's not working the way it should be. And again, that way that X-Fly is set up, they're actually pretty efficient, and it's really clean air. You can just tell by the way it sounds. If you hear a lot of airy sound, that's not good. That means there's drag. That means there's turbulence. Turbulence, which creates drag. So it sounds cool, but it's not helping the model. And yes, the Fred Barron, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You always come through with the PayPal donation. Very much appreciated. So, guys, the thing that you need to think about when you're setting up an EDF system is where you're going to spend most of your power, where you want it to be making the most thrust, and if you're good with throttle management. Now, for most people that are not good with throttle management, I will recommend the new Freewing 9-blade inrunners, because those are really good at full throttle. I have one in my MiG-17, and I've been able to fly with a 6S 50C 6000 for 3 minutes just with the throttle pegged. No issue. The motor doesn't get hot. Doesn't use a lot of amps. And from what Garfield Houston was saying, you can even run it on 8S now. So, what's up, Ernesto? And yeah, everything, there's an equation for it, the Fred Barron. The faster you get, it's the same thing with real planes. The faster you go, the more power is required to make you go faster. So there is wind resistance. So at one point, you have to figure out how much more power you need. Especially when it comes to, like with the real full-size planes flying supersonic, you've got all that extra drag and other stuff to overcome. So yeah, the faster you go, the more it's going to take, but then it also means the more you're going to use. So it has to be a balancing act. And again, yeah, Reckham, those whooshing sounds are cool. But if you hear a whoosh, that means that you're wasting energy, which ain't good. But anyway, Brooklyn born, yep, same thing. The faster you go, the more drag you have to overcome. So, you're welcome, Paul. And guys, I'm actually thinking about possibly doing some event out here on the West Coast. I just need to figure out who can come. The weather's going to be nice almost always. Joe Pellegrino, thanks for coming by. I'm probably going to head out here in a little bit too. By about 8:30, which is about 6 minutes away. I think I'm going to get going. But if you guys have any questions that I wasn't able to answer that you want answered, put them in the comments in this video, and then I'll get to you later. But so since we're talking about that, that's the cool thing about foam versus composite. With a lot of those composite planes, since they're such clean airframes, you don't have to have the whole 1-to-1 thrust to weight. A lot of those, the high-end turbines and a lot of those others, they won't have a thrust to weight ratio of 1 to 1. It'll be high. It'll be, 0.75 to 0.8, sometimes 0.9 to 1. But since the planes are so clean, and the same thing goes for full scale, since the planes are so clean, you can get a lot out of them and you're able to retain energy. Foam, just even painted foam, is just draggy by nature. So while you might have a plane that's 1 to 1 in foam, it may not be fast, but you might have a plane that's composite that's got a 0.8 or 0.9 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, and it's insane fast because it's clean. So just depends on how you want to slice it. But I like thrust over speed. Now my F5 is a combination of the two, so I like that one. I like the way it flies. I was scaring the crap out of people at Oakdale on Saturday because number one, it's fast, but it sneaks up on you. So if you're not paying attention, it'll come hauling ass from right to left, and you won't hear it if it's coming from the right. So yeah, Pete Lane, airliners, that's a good example. They are very, very clean. So, and they don't have a whole lot of thrust to weight, but since they're so clean, they're able to just use the thrust that they have available efficiently. And basically, most jets now are like turboprops. They're high bypass fans, so they're almost like turning a propeller for all that thrust. The core of the engine isn't hardly putting out any thrust. It's the fan itself, all the bypass. But yeah, I prefer thrust. I like a combo, so I can have thrust and speed, but it's good. So guys, as I said, I'm probably going to get going here. I see we still got 29 people, and I hate to leave with people here, but need to get going for some other stuff. Yeah, Pete, you've got the equations there. Yeah. Somebody else I know put that equation out there too. He's a physicist or physics guy. I was able to figure that out. But as you go faster, it gets harder to go faster, which is why there were a lot of subsonic jets back in the days, because they didn't know what it took to go faster. And then you add afterburners in there, and then you can push through. What's up, Wild Bill? So guys, as I said, we are going to be ending here within probably a couple seconds, because it's been a long day. It's been a Monday and a half, and I'm tired. I've got stuff to do, and I'm gonna go. But I appreciate everybody coming by. I appreciate all these questions you guys got for me today. If there's anything that you still want to talk about, or any questions that you have, put them in the comment section of this video, and I'll try to get to them. I almost always answer questions or any comments that people leave. I usually get to them pretty quickly, since I got my phone on me all the time. I think that I've got, see, there's even YouTube notifications right now. So, All right, guys, gonna get going. Thank you for hanging out with us. Brooklyn Born, thanks for coming by. Keith Christie, good to see you too, and Wild Bill. But I'm gonna end the stream and head on out. Be responsible and ship out some burners. So we're gonna have some crazy weather here this week too. So it's been cold, not cold, but cool. By the middle of the week, we're gonna have mid to high 90s. So you guys have a good night. I'm out of here, and I will talk to y'all later. See you guys on the other streams. All right. Hopefully we'll get more videos soon. My son's working on them. So adios.